Rolex versus Omega. It is the single biggest rivalry in the world of luxury timepieces. But let's be blunt, one of these brands is a masterpiece of marketing and perceived value, and the other is a champion of raw horological innovation and historical achievement. To ask which one is better isn't really about telling time. It's a question of philosophy, of history, and of what you actually value in a machine on your wrist. By the end of this, you won't just have an opinion. You'll know which brand is the right choice for you. If you value straight-up facts on luxury like this video, subscribe to Opulent Oasis and hit the notification bell. The battle between these two Swiss titans isn't just about watches, it's about two completely different ways to sell you a status symbol. One company is a private foundation that acts more like a vault, and the other is a public company that actually has to compete for your money. This single difference explains everything. Rolex was founded in 1905 by Hans Wilsdorf. Wilsdorf was not a watchmaker, he was a marketing visionary. He picked the name Rolex in 1908 because it was short, easy to pronounce in any language, and supposedly sounded like a watch being wound. Rolex's entire history is not about pure invention, it's about perfection and powerful marketing. The famous waterproof oyster case? It was based on an acquired patent for a screw-down crown. The perpetual automatic rotor that became the industry standard? It was a significant improvement on an earlier, more limited mechanism developed by someone else. Even the legendary Submariner, launched in 1953, was not the first modern dive watch. It was preceded by the Omega Marine in 1932 and, more directly, the Blank Pane 50 Fathoms, which debuted months earlier. Rolex's triumph was in making their versions more robust, more reliable, and, crucially, more famous than any of their predecessors. Omega's story begins much earlier in 1848 with a 23-year-old watchmaker named Louis Brandt. While Rolex was born from a marketing mind, Omega was born from the hands of an engineer. The company's defining moment came in 1894 when Brandt's sons introduced the revolutionary 19-line caliber. This movement was a marvel of industrial engineering, the first of its kind to be mass-produced with fully interchangeable parts. This meant any watchmaker, anywhere in the world, could service it. It was so successful they named it Omega, the Greek letter for ultimate accomplishment, and then renamed the entire company after it. In contrast to Rolex's history of refinement, Omega's legacy is marked by a series of verifiable horological firsts. In 1892, they produced the world's first minute-repeating wristwatch. In 1932, they launched the Omega Marine, arguably the first dive watch available to the public. And in 1947, Omega created the first ever tourbillon wristwatch caliber. This is a company built by engineers, not marketers. This brings us to the most critical part: the ownership structure. When Hans Wilsdorf died, he left ownership of Rolex to the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation. This means Rolex is a private trust. It has no public shareholders. It doesn't have to answer to Wall Street or worry about quarterly growth. The Foundation's singular, long-term focus is the cultivation and protection of brand equity. This unique structure is what allows the company to meticulously control production, create intentional, artificial scarcity, and pursue a strategy of relentless, slow evolution. Omega is the exact opposite. The brand was nearly bankrupted by the quartz crisis of the 1970s and 80s. It was eventually absorbed into what is now known as the Swatch Group, a publicly traded conglomerate. This corporate structure subjects Omega to the strategic imperatives of a public company. It must generate sales, it must compete for market share, and it must maintain high production volumes. So how does a brand that is generally available for purchase justify its luxury positioning? By differentiating itself through tangible, marketable technological superiority. This directly explains Omega's massive investment in developing and promoting innovations like the coaxial escapement and the industry-leading METAS certification. Here is the core takeaway. Rolex builds desire through exclusivity. Omega builds desire through demonstrable technical prowess. Now let's put their most famous rivals head-to-head, starting with the battle for the depths. The Submariner versus the Seamaster Diver, 300 meters. The Rolex Submariner, first presented in 1954, set the design template for the entire dive watch genre. Its clean black dial, rotating bezel, and robust oyster case became the standard. Over the subsequent 7 decades, the Submariner has undergone a process of relentless, incremental refinement. Crown guards were added in 1959, a date function was introduced in the late 1960s, and the original aluminum bezel was replaced by virtually scratch-proof Cerachrome ceramic. It is the epitome of evolutionary perfection. The Omega Seamaster Diver 300 meters is the direct rival. This model exploded into global consciousness in 1995 when it was chosen as the new watch for James Bond in GoldenEye. The Diver 300M has always been more visually ornate than the Submariner. It's distinguished by its scalloped bezel, its skeletonized hands, and, most notably, that manually operated helium escape valve at 10 o'clock. Modern versions have elevated the model with ceramic bezels and ceramic dials, often featuring a laser-engraved wave pattern. They are powered by technically superior master chronometer movements that are visible through a sapphire caseback. In a direct comparison, the Submariner stands for timeless, understated simplicity. The Seamaster Diver 300M represents feature-rich modernity. It offers a more complex aesthetic and packs more visible technology. A date window, a helium escape valve, a ceramic dial, and an advanced anti-magnetic movement with a display back, often at a significantly more accessible price. If the dive watch is a battle for the sea, the chronograph is a battle for history itself. The Rolex Cosmograph Daytona was officially born in 1963, named for the famed Florida racetrack. Ironically, for a watch that now commands multi-year waitlists, the Daytona was a slow seller for decades. Its popularity was ignited entirely by its association with actor and racing driver Paul Newman. His personal exotic dial watch created a collecting frenzy that transformed the model into a global status symbol. The Daytona is an icon of motorsport, celebrity, and, above all, market-driven desire. The Omega Speedmaster, by contrast, earned its legendary status through verifiable performance. Introduced in 1957, it was the first chronograph to move the tachymeter scale, that's the ring for measuring speed, from the dial to the bezel. Though created for motorsports, its destiny was in the stars. In 1965, NASA anonymously procured and subjected several chronographs to a series of brutal tests to find a watch suitable for its astronauts. The Speedmaster was the only one to survive. Its place in history was immortalized on July 21, 1969, when Buzz Aldrin stepped onto the lunar surface, making the Speedmaster the first watch worn on the moon. Its heroism was further proven during the near-disastrous Apollo 13 mission in 1970, when the crew used a Speedmaster to time a critical 14-second engine burn to correct their trajectory after onboard digital timers had failed. The comparison here is a clash of two entirely different forms of greatness. The Daytona is a flawlessly executed luxury object, a symbol of success. The Speedmaster Professional Moonwatch is a living piece of history, a tool watch that went to the moon and saved a mission. Deep inside the watches, the philosophies diverge even further. Omega's greatest technical achievement is the coaxial escapement. The escapement is the heart of a mechanical watch. Invented by the legendary George Daniels and first industrialized by Omega in 1999, the coaxial is a radical redesign. It functions with a pushing motion rather than the sliding friction of the traditional Swiss lever escapement. The primary benefit is a dramatic reduction in friction, which leads to greater accuracy stability over time and allows for longer recommended service intervals. Rolex takes a different approach. Instead of reinventing the escapement, Rolex has focused on perfecting the traditional Swiss lever system. Their modern movements are not known for novel architecture, but for their extreme robustness, efficiency, and serviceability. It is optimization and fortification, not fundamental reinvention. This extends to the balance spring. Omega has been a leader in using silicon. Silicon components are created with perfect geometry and are completely immune to magnetism, a massive problem in our modern world of electronics. Rolex developed its proprietary parachrome hairspring, a metal alloy that is highly resistant to shocks, temperature, and magnetic fields. The key difference? Rolex's metallic spring can be adjusted and serviced by a skilled watchmaker. Omega's brittle silicon spring cannot be repaired, only replaced. This battle for technical supremacy culminates in their certifications. Rolex has the superlative chronometer certification. First, the uncased movement is certified by COSC, an independent body. Then, after the movement is cased, Rolex conducts a second series of tests in its own laboratories, guaranteeing a much stricter accuracy of -2 to +2 seconds per day. It is a closed ecosystem of quality control. Omega has the master chronometer certification. The movement also first achieves COSC certification. Then the fully assembled watch is sent to the Swiss Federal Institute of Metrology, or METAS, a third-party governmental body. METAS certifies an accuracy of 0 to +5 seconds per day. Critically, it will never run slow. But the groundbreaking element is the test for anti-magnetism. The watch must function perfectly while exposed to a magnetic field of 15,000 Gauss, a level far beyond what is encountered in daily life. The Rolex standard does not specify a public test for this. Even the metals they use are a strategic choice. The vast majority of luxury watches, including Omega's, are crafted from 316L stainless steel, an excellent marine-grade alloy. Rolex, however, exclusively uses 904L stainless steel, which it markets as oyster steel. Compared to 316L, 904L contains higher concentrations of chromium. The most significant and tangible difference is aesthetic. 904L steel can be polished to a higher, more brilliant luster that is noticeably brighter and colder in tone. It is also more difficult and expensive to machine. This brings us to the economics of desire. This is by far the most significant differentiator between the two brands. Rolex operates on a model of managed scarcity. Through meticulous control of its distribution, the brand ensures that demand for its popular steel sports models vastly exceeds supply. This results in long, often multi-year wait lists at dealers, where the watches are sold at a fixed retail price with no discounts. This scarcity has transformed Rolex watches from mere luxury goods into highly sought-after financial assets. Rolex utterly dominates the secondary market. It accounts for over 34% of the secondary luxury watch market by volume, more than the next 7 largest brands, including Omega, combined. Most professional Rolex models trade on the pre-owned market for prices significantly above their original retail price. Omega follows a much more traditional luxury retail model. Its watches are produced in larger quantities and are generally available for purchase at its boutiques and authorized dealers. This accessibility, combined with higher production, means that discounts can sometimes be negotiated. With the exception of highly coveted limited editions, Omega watches behave like most other luxury goods. They typically experience a degree of depreciation after being purchased at retail before their value stabilizes. This market behavior has fundamentally altered the conversation. A Rolex is not just a watch, it is an asset class. The decision to buy one often involves financial calculation. An Omega, in contrast, is purchased primarily for its horological merit, its historical significance, and its design. The value proposition is centered on acquiring a high-quality timepiece for its intrinsic worth. As a note, this is an analysis of market dynamics, not financial advice. Finally, what is the long-term ownership journey like? Both brands express immense confidence in their products, offering a comprehensive 5-year international warranty. Where they diverge is in recommended service intervals. Rolex officially recommends a service for its modern timepieces approximately every 10 years. This long interval is a testament to the robustness of their movements and long-lasting lubricants. Omega, on the other hand, recommends a complete service every 5 to 8 years. This shorter interval may be influenced by the greater complexity of the coaxial escapement. A standard service for a Rolex from an official service center generally starts between $800 and $1,200 for a model like a Submariner. A complex chronograph like the Daytona will start at $1,300 or more. An authorized service for an Omega tends to be more accessible. A complete service for a Seamaster Diver 300M typically costs between $595 and $700. A Speedmaster chronograph service starts around $900. When analysing the total cost of ownership, the picture is more nuanced. While a single Rolex service is more expensive, the longer 10-year interval means that over a 20 or 30-year period, the owner might pay for fewer services than an Omega owner. This makes the cumulative long-term maintenance costs much more comparable than the individual service prices might suggest. So after all of this, which brand is better? The true conclusion is that the term better is subjective. The choice is between two completely different philosophies of luxury. The case for Rolex is that it's the benchmark of aspirational luxury. Rolex is the better choice for the individual who prioritizes brand prestige, timeless design, and unparalleled financial value retention. It is the ultimate watch as a status symbol, a universally recognized signal of achievement. A Rolex is more than a watch. It is a crown for achievement, an heirloom, and one of the safest investments one can wear on the wrist. The case for Omega is that it's the champion of horological innovation. Omega is the better choice for the individual who values technical substance, historical significance, and cutting-edge watchmaking. Its commitment to innovation is demonstrated through industry-leading advancements like the coaxial escapement and the METAS certification, which solves the real-world problem of magnetism. Its legacy is one of earned greatness, as the official timekeeper of the Olympics and the first and only watch worn on the moon. Omega represents, for many, the pinnacle of getting the most watch for the money. If the watch is an emblem of arrival and a stable asset, Rolex is without peer. If the watch is a celebration of engineering and a connection to epic moments in human history, Omega presents an undeniable case. The choice is yours. So which philosophy do you buy into? In the comments, tell me, are you buying the asset or the achievement?